Hi, my name is Steve Alcanar. I'm a realtor here in Cave Creek, Arizona, but also I'm a very passionate, a very addicted stand-up jet ski rider. And today what I'm going to do is talk to you about the proper boots to wear for jet ski riding, stand-up specifically. And what I've learned along the way in my journey, the different boots I've tried, the pros and the cons of each, and important things to consider when purchasing a pair of boots for stand-up jet ski riding. This is just purely my desire to truly find the right boot to assist or help you maximize your skill set in riding a high-performance jet ski. Currently, I am on a Commander GP1 1500, which is just shy of 70 miles an hour top speed. It carves incredibly well. In fact, without the right technique and body position, you can't physically withstand the G's that ski will do in a turn around a buoy. You know, I come from the world of motocross racing most of my life, and also downhill skiing. And in downhill skiing, you know, the connection between your body and your leg and the edge of your ski is super important. So the boots are designed to fit very tight and close to the ski, and so and then they're fit really well so that every little movement of your knee or press with your leg initiates an edge for the ski to carve, and it's very, very critical. In the jet ski world, there's a boot or two out there. They kind of claim that they're designed for that, but they are generally more of a all-purpose, you know, type boot. And so I was a little bit surprised when I found that out. So I decided to go on a journey and think about, like, what else is out there that may or may not be made for jet skis, and just to find out, you know, what would work. Right away when I first started jet skiing, I ski off of a beach. There's rocks, there's sand, and one of the things that just drove me crazy was rocks in my shoe. Literally, you walk in the water, you pull your ski off the stand, you get on it, and you got a rock in the wrong spot. So that's one important thing, is what do these do to keep rocks and sand and foreign debris out of the inside of your boot so you don't have to take them on and off. Another thing is traction on the mat. With these newer high-performance skis, foot position is very, very critical. And you want a boot that sticks. You know, like a basketball shoe sticks to a basketball court, or a tennis shoe sticks to a tennis court. You want something with good traction. The shoe needs to fit well. Just like a court shoe, if it doesn't fit well and your foot's sliding around in there with the lateral forces, you get blisters on the bottom of your feet, or your feet go to sleep. A number of reasons why it's important that they fit well. Another thing is ankle support. Sprained my ankle pretty badly on my GP1 at one point with no ankle supports. Another thing is most trays on the skis, the area where you put your feet, are not real big. Now, Commander and some of the really high-end skis have very generous, you know, tray areas for your feet. But if you're like me, for my size, I have massive feet. My feet are like size 12 and they're wide. So having a boot that's not bulky, that fits closely to your foot and allows you to place your feet exactly where you want without catching on things. So a boot that is not bulky is important. And then also on the other side of it is your mat. These mats on these new skis can be $400. So if you've got a boot that has soles that rip up your mat, or they collect rocks between the treads, and then when you put your feet on the mat it tears and rips, and that's not good either. So a really good sticky sole that doesn't carry rocks or isn't brutal on your very expensive tray mats. And then, of course, cost can be an important factor. And then something that I learned a little later on was lift. And what I mean by lift is the thickness of the sole. Like high-end running shoes have a lot of lift, so you have a big, thick heel. Versus, you know, the old barefoot style shoes that just, your foot's on the ground. So lift affects your body's center of gravity, how close you are to the water on the tray of the ski. And the manufacturers go through great pains to make their trays as low as possible. The last thing you want to do is wear a boot that's got super thick and it raise you up off the tray. So lift is another important factor. So let's get into it right away. For just about anybody, recreational skier, like to get on and jump waves and cruise around, look at the beach, do whatever. Maybe you're learning, foot protection and walking are probably the two biggest things. And you can do something as simple as this. This is made by NRS. They're designed for kayaking, basically. They have a nice sole tread for walking around on the rocks and the different stuff. And they're neoprene. They're designed to go in and out of the water. Very inexpensive and can easily be used for all forms of jet skiing. Of course, at the level that I ski at, there is actually no ankle support, and they are very flexible, so you don't have much lateral support. You can get rocks in them pretty easy. But for a very basic, inexpensive, just getting out on a jet ski and having protection on your feet, these are great. After that, for cold water riding, I went to a surf boot, split toe surf boot. These are very state-of-the-art, high. They seal up high on your leg. The beauty of these is you get no debris in your shoes at all. They have a little power strap that helps keep your foot in place a little bit. They stick on your mat good. But there again, this is pretty basic. Great for cold water riding, but you don't have any ankle support. Your foot can move around quite a bit in these types of things. So again, not ideal, but if you're out for a cold water ride or you're learning jet skiing, it can be a great way to keep your feet warm and give you some protection on your feet. Then one of the things you'll notice if you go to a world champion jet ski race like at Havasu or some of the races, there is a boot that predominantly a lot of people wear. I think it's just by default. But then occasionally you'll see someone sporting a really bright colored boot. Hey, I wonder what they have. And you'll find that there are some younger people and a few people that choose to wear like a wrestling or boxing shoe. I thought this was going to be a great idea. In a lot of ways they work great. The difference between boxing and wrestling though is the type of sole and whether they're really like traction-y, softish rubber that sticks really well, or whether they're a harder rubber that will slide, because I believe boxers need to shuffle their feet, wrestlers want a little more traction. So I found that the wrestling shoes had a better stiction on their sole. But again, they're not designed to go in and out of water. They wear out pretty fast. They're really thin in here, so when your toes bend when they go up in the front of your tray, it kind of presses on your foot, which is uncomfortable. They're thin. And of course, the tongues are not attached. So all the way down in here, you wear these, you go in the water one time and you got rocks and all kinds of stuff on your feet. So really didn't like these much at all. I did like the fact they came in some really cool colors and designs. Most of them fit super narrow, so I found myself having to oversize to get these to fit, and then that makes them longer. And again, now you're getting into the space in your tray. So not something I recommend. There are some young people that wear them and like them, but just a number of reasons why I don't like them, wouldn't wear them. This next boot, this is made by a sailing company, Zick. They're made in Seattle. This boot was pretty cool in a lot of ways. The fact that it laces up the side gives you a nice big strap, good ankle support, great traction on the mat, yet it doesn't hold rocks, tear up your mats. They're made out of like a sealed coated neoprene. If you buy not the lights, but the heavier duty version, they have pretty good support. Not a bad boot. I think they work good for a lot of things, but this area up here, again, you're kind of limited to finding the size that you can fit over your foot. But I would put these high up in my category, but not my favorite. As far as cold water riding, they're amazing because they're super warm, and they have a lot of really good attributes about them. There are some other manufacturers that make sail type boots similar to this, ranging anywhere from $60, $70 to $130. But these are very well made, and I think they work for a lot of people, but not my favorite. Then we get to this boot. This boot here is called H2O Designs, and they're works boots. They come with this little tab that you can have custom made with your name and Velcros on and off. I found that these usually fall off right away. But this is the boot that you will see majority of stand-up jet skiers wearing. If you go to the races, 80% of them will be wearing this boot. This is the boot when I first started jet skiing that someone said, hey, you got to get a pair of these. A great all-around boot. But could it be better? Absolutely. I believe they do not come in male, female sizes. They're unisex. They're a fairly generic fitting boot. They come with an elastic shoestring type deal, which I found to be problematic when you want to tighten it up. So I replaced it with a solid type shoestring here that would tighten up really tight and not stretch. The thing that I liked about these was, you know, they are higher, they have some support, they've got good protection around your feet, the soles are pretty good, they do have a tendency to pick up rocks, which can damage your tray. The fit is really generic though, so if you've got a big foot, you know, they fit pretty good. If you have a smaller foot, you've got to size them down and kind of ram your toes up in the front to get them to fit right. The negative really with these, in my viewpoint, were I just couldn't get them to fit me as tight and snug as I liked. They are a bit bulky. They've got the kind of big round nose on them. They're a little wider, so they're a little bit bulkier than I like, which wouldn't affect most people. And then the tongue is attached, but it's only attached up to about here. So it does a better job than like these at keeping rocks and foreign debris out of your boot, but it's not perfect. And they make some really cool gaiters that you can put over the top of these that go up to your knees, and they help keep the debris out. All around, I think these are around $120, somewhere in that category. They come in 3 colors. A great all-around boot for every kind of jet skiing, whether you're sit down, you know, stand up, old, new, but not my favorite. Fit for me was an issue, the bulkiness, the tongue not coming all the way up, so getting more debris in my boot. So those were some things that I didn't really care. There is a couple other manufacturers that I don't have here that make boots similar to this. I think Jet Tribe, and also I think Jet Tribe makes a boot very similar to this. In my opinion, the Jet Tribe didn't secure as tightly as even this does. It was a little bit more looser, more general fitting boot, not as performance orientated, the Jet Tribe, but very similar to this. Jet Pilot makes a boot that's pretty close in this category, but it looks more like a skate shoe. It was okay. And then, of course, I think Sea-Doo. There's a few other manufacturers that make boots more similar to like this, or a combination between these two. And they're all fairly generic. But I think for most people, this boot seems to be a favorite. But in my journey, I discovered a boot that is definitely by far my favorite. And it's made by that same sailing company, Zick. And they call it, I think it's called their Hiking 2 boot, and it's the extra thick boot. This guy here laces all the way up, all the way down to here, so you get a lot of options to make this thing fit super tight. You've got a really nice 360-degree power strap that goes around your ankle. And then as you can see, the tread on this, it's almost like a court shoe kind of a tread. Wraps up on the heel, up on the toe. This little traction area is actually for the sailing world, for the hiking. The guys that hike and hang way out is why this is on there. That's what this boot's designed for. But it's relatively stiff. This boot does it all. The only way I could improve on this boot was I put formed orthotic in it, and that finished it. With that orthotic in this boot, this thing rocks. It goes as far as walking, it's great. It doesn't collect rocks to rip up your mat. The traction on your mat is incredible on your mat. You can get them to fit super tight and snug. They got great ankle support. They're reinforced up the ankle. They're not bulky, they're fairly slim fitting, so they stick in the corners of your tray really good. And they have literally no lift. So your foot is on the footbed and literally you're right there, you're on the tray. So really good feel. But out of all the boots I've tried, these definitely are my favorite by quite a bit. And then of course the Works boot, it's a good all-around boot. So that's what I found out. Depending on how you jet ski, if you're a recreational guy cruising around, a lot of these boots will work. If you're leaving from a dock and you're never in the beach or you're never walking on the rocks, you might like a set of these. That you can get them pretty inexpensively on Amazon or wherever, when you don't have to worry about debris getting in your foot. But if you ride from various locations, beaches, rocky areas, docks, wherever you go, and you ride a very high performance jet ski, and foot position and traction and all that stuff is important. This Zip, I think they call it the hiking 2. You can reach out to me and I can tell you the link, but they're actually made in Seattle, Washington. So anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. I know when I started this jet ski thing, there was none of that information out there, and as you can see, these are just what I have left. A lot of the boots that I tried that I didn't like immediately, I just returned them and got my money back. And so I'm guessing close to 11, 12 different types of boots I've had on my feet and tried on my jet ski, and this is the result of what I find. So hopefully that helps you, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to share.